We are live. What's going on, team? Hope everyone's having a super great day out there. I wanted to come on today, not talk too long, but I wanted to be able to talk a little bit about how to get unlimited motivation. I keep getting messages, mainly on Instagram, from people saying, how do I get motivated? How do I get motivated? Hopefully in the next 5 minutes, I can show you a hack that's worked for me and for a bunch of my clients. And I will say it's not something that you do once, it's something that has to be done repeatedly. It's extremely simple, not always easy. So we're going to dive into that together. Now, before we do dive in, I'm just going to pull up the live video so I can see your comments. I'm going to tag everyone. If you want to help more people see this now, all you got to do is just like this post, throw a comment, and join me in unleashing, ooh, what a good word, unleashing unlimited motivation. Say hello. All right, let's do it. So I've got some stuff to show you, but before I do, I just want to answer or ask you a question. That's what we're going to start with. And the question is, do you believe that there is something you can do in the next 3 weeks that can make your life worse? Probably, right? You can not show up for work. You can stop sleeping. Whatever it is. You can cheat on your spouse. But if you believe that's true, then you also believe that there's something you can do in the next 3 weeks that can make your life better. Right? And the 3 weeks are going to happen regardless. So if we can put an action in place that is no pain, super easy to do, and can give you an outsized return for the effort you put in, wouldn't you do it? I think, any rational person would say yes, right? So that means that there's something we want to change, right? By proxy, there's a result that we want. Okay, fair. So if we want a new result, what do we have to do? Everyone wants a result. But you see, you don't just want a result and then get it. There has to be a precursor to the result. What is it? If you aren't watching this live or on recording, feel free to just scream it from the rooftops. What is it? What is the thing? I'll give you 3 seconds, and while you're going, I'll give you some music. What is it? What is it? Done. The answer is action. Of course, we all do that, right? Okay, so if I want a new result, I need new actions, essentially, or I need actions. Now, here's the thing. This is where a lot of people stop, or I'll say start and then stop. Because if you want to, we'll just stay on the topic of transforming your body and sustaining it forever. If you want to transform your body and sustain it forever, then it's like, okay, well, let me transform my body. What do I have to do? What are the mechanics? Okay, I need to eat less calories than I burn in a day. I need to exercise this amount of time. I need to sleep. And we focus on the mechanics. The problem with that is if we look at human nature is always going to be staying away from pain and going towards pleasure. If these actions that we're doing are not aligned with that, then we will just stop the actions. So there actually is something else that we need as well if we go backwards. And that is our feelings. What? Feelings? What are you talking about? Well, if you're a human, we have these weird things called emotions. And we can be either mad that they happen, and we can be frustrated that we need to account for our emotions, or we can just accept it, and we can act in line with it. The majority of people, when they try to transform their body, they ignore this. And they think, oh, well, that might be true for everyone else, but it's not true for me because, I just got to tell me what to do and I'll do it. But humans are not that way, right? Maybe when AI takes over, right, AI will be that way. AI won't have any feelings. But humans, human intelligence, us, we need to account for our feelings. This is why you can be doing, right, when we account for feelings, you can be doing everything right, and then you have a really bad day, and despite the bad day, right? Like you don't just always go and do the right thing. Why? Because you feel bad, right? Because there's negative emotions there. So the answer is, well, how do we account for that? How do we fix it? And that's really, I'll say, the lens that we look at. Uh, I would say, how can I show this one? So let me pull this one up because this is the best one I like to be able to reference. So it's like when you're starting your journey, if you're just starting out, and we'll talk about the unlimited motivation in a second, but this is part of it. We need to be able to create low pain, high pleasure results based actions. Why? Because if you do not, if your brain can recognize, all right, it's not taking that much effort to do this thing, it's not painful, and it's very pleasurable, either through the experience itself or from the result you get from the action, then you will create what's called a positive feedback loop. This is how you teach children. It's the same thing. This is how you teach humans, whether you're a small human or a big human, right? Behavior that's rewarded is repeated. And it's not just rewarded externally, but more importantly, internally, how you perceive it. So you have to achieve positive feedback loops. If you have tried to lose weight in the past and you start and stop, I can promise you that you are not achieving step 2, which is positive feedback loops. You only get positive feedback loops when the actions you're doing are less pain than the pleasure you're getting, and you're getting results from it, right? And then once you can do those two things, you can move to action 3 or step 3, which is adapt and learn, right? There's a misconception that when you work with a coach or that you start your journey, that you will just be told all the right inputs to do, and then you do them, and then it's over. And the truth is, that's not the way it goes. Why? Because you're unique. Because you have unique life experiences. Yes, a lot of things rhyme and are similar, but it sounds crazy. But you 6 months in the future, you now and 6 months ago would actually be coached differently. Why? Because you're at a different point of your life. There's different things happening. So it's important to be able to essentially learn how to adapt. Learn how to take we'll say the truths, and then be able to adapt based on what is coming at you. And you almost like create a toolbox that then you can use for the rest of your life, and that's how you really sustain it forever. Not because you learned the right mechanics, but because you learn how to adapt, right? This is an emotional game. This is a psychology game. And then the last piece, of course, is getting to step 4, which is solidify new fit identity. So if we know we want a new result, we have to do new actions. We have to change our feelings, our feelings affect our actions, which affect our results. Well, what affects our feelings? Our thoughts. Everything starts with thoughts. As corny as it sounds, like I'm not saying that like you just sit there and think about being fit and then, oh my gosh, you'll be fit. But everything starts from thought. I have a story. The story is, I don't know if you've ever heard actually the story. It might be the first time for you. But it's a story of an Eskimo that lived in the coldest parts of Alaska. And this is back at a time that they actually used to host dog fights every week, every Saturday. And it was a small village, I think maybe like 50 or so people. And in this village, one of the people that lived there noticed that on one week, the black dog would win. And on another week, the white dog would win. And they used to bet on the fights. But what the person realized is that the person who owned the dogs always bet on the winning dog. So eventually, that person, very interested, went up to the Eskimo and said, "Hey, I've noticed that sometimes the black dog wins, sometimes the white dog wins. How do you know which dog's going to win?" And the Eskimo just kind of looks up and says, "Oh, that's easy. I always bet on the dog I've been feeding all week." What does that mean? Well, if we think about our thoughts are going to affect how we feel, our actions, our results. You have positive and negative. You have disempowering thoughts and you have empowering thoughts. Which dog are you feeding? The dog that empowers you, which feeds on empowering thoughts, like this time can be different. I can do this. I will approach this in a long-term infinite game versus a finite one. Versus the disempowering thoughts, and that dog gets bigger. Well, why would this be any different? Oh God, I'm already over 40, and like, once you're over 40, your hormones are different, or I'm perimenopausal, or it's not possible for me. My hormones I had my thyroid removed, or whatever. Disempowering thoughts, and there can be a lot of them. So if you feed yourself with disempowering thoughts, what happens? You feel bad. How much action do you take? Well, none. Because if you have disempowering thoughts, you don't believe the actions you're going to take are going to work. So why would you try? Of course you're not going to try. And then you get no results. And then you say, I told you so. Or maybe you try and it's only a little bit. And of course, if you take a little action, you're going to get little results. But if you really believe something was different, if you're able to gain evidence that, you know what, maybe I can do this. Maybe I look at other people in the group and I say, wow, this person's just like me. Whoa, this person's 70. Well, I have no excuse at 50. How'd she do it? Interesting. And you start to gain new evidence for, empowering evidence that this can happen for me. Your feelings change, you take more action, you change your results. Now, the other thing with thoughts is changing your frame. We already know when we're trying to create positive feedback loops that we need to avoid negative feedback loops. So what's a negative feedback loop? It's the opposite. It's something you do that makes you feel worse and that eventually makes you stop. What is the reason that people don't get to their final goal and even if they do get to the final goal, they can't sustain it? It's really simple. They stop. But why would they stop? They stop because it's not pleasurable anymore. They stop because the pain is too high. So what we have to do from the beginning, if we can look far enough ahead and go, okay, I know this is going to be an obstacle in the future. Let me plan for it now. Right? Why would we take our approach any differently? Why would we try to fight all the way for 12 weeks to then just have it come back? It doesn't make sense, right? We're all smart, rational human beings out there. I know you are. Even if I can't see your comments. I get it. People are working on a Wednesday. But it's crucial, right? Our thoughts determine our feelings, determine our actions, which determine our results. And at the end of the day, I'm a big believer that you are who you are and where you are because of what's gone into your mind. But the amazing thing about this is you can change who you are. You can change where you are just by changing what goes into your mind. The reason I make these podcasts every day, for the most part, and I say a lot of the same stuff, is because I'm trying to be that input for you. If there's someone out there that has struggled and tried for years, I can promise you it's possible. But don't take my word for it. Take all the other RNs and healthcare workers in this group or our reviews, take their word for it, right? Get belief from them. And whether or not you ever work with us for coaching isn't the objective. The objective is for you to break through. And the only way we can break through is if we go all the way back and change our thoughts. And how do we change our thoughts? We need to change our input. It's crucial. Last thing I'll say to this is your past is important because it's brought you to where you are. But the way you view your future is far more important than the past. Which brings us full circle to the title of this video. If you really want to be able to get unlimited motivation, you have to believe that your future is going to be better than your past. You have to believe that what you want is possible. And it's not do you believe or don't you believe. It's what level do you believe? How much do you believe? Because just a thought exercise for a moment. If you had 100% certainty that the next time you started your transformation journey, you would absolutely get there and never have to do anything again. You 100% believed it. How much action would you take? A tremendous amount of action. We all know. And then how much action, what results would you get? A tremendous amount, right? And as long as you had the right frame of mind going into it, you'd win. Okay, so if that's the feelings we need, how do we get that? You change your input, right? We have a library of content now, over 100 podcasts almost. It's like go back. Like if I was just starting my journey today and I just found this group, I would go back and listen on not on repeat, but listen like on shuffle or like just in order all the podcasts. So I could start changing the record player in my mind. Because the fact of the matter is, if you are out there and you are in your 30s or your 40s or your 50s, 60s, 70s, whatever it is, and you've tried and failed to be able to make this happen, which is okay. We're all there, right? like we've all been there, then the first thing you need to do is believe something can be different, but the only way you can do that is by gaining new evidence, right? So I promise you that if you watch some of the podcasts, you should be able to get some of these nuggets here and there, which can make you start believing something's different. And whether that, again, brings you to one-on-one coaching with us or not, that's not the point. The point is that you believe something is different and then you take new actions. If that's with a coach, fine. But just taking new actions, right? Like we've had so many people in this group that like post a month after, joining, and they're like, hey, like I've been doing this on my own and I'm down 8 pounds. And it's like, F yeah, my guy, that's awesome. You're crushing it. We've also had people that like 6 months later are like, hey, I just want to share my progress. Like I'm down 24 pounds and like this feels like it's never felt before for me without a coach. And like, cool, they did it without a coach. That's awesome. Not everyone needs a coach. Having a coach can be great because it allows you to, as I say, compress decades into days. So that way we can essentially, have more of a guaranteed result, if you will, because you're going on a similar path that so many other people have already been on. That's, I'll say, tested. But hopefully this just rings true to somebody out there. Because at the end of the day, all we're trying to do is break through. And if you're still looking to, I'll say, break through, give this a serious thought, right? This cycle. Identify. What do you need? What do you need to really break through? And we're here for you. And we have a bunch of other content for you guys in here too. A bunch of good stuff. Whether it be meal guides, recipe books, which I guess are the same thing. More psychology. Again, you'll see a lot of these, like, Jennifer has embraced self-care and regained her confidence. Jennifer shared her story recently. If you're struggling with motivation or believing that it's possible for you, watch this story, right? Watch the other stories. But if you want like eating out guides, you can grab them. We're here for you. Whether you've been in this group for a year or you've been in this group for a day, we're here to help you break through. Let us know if there's something you need. We'll do our best to anticipate your needs so that we can help you be able to break through for good. Because there's no reason this can't be the last time for you. There's no reason that it can't be you, right? And that just shifts back to beliefs. Just goes back to beliefs, right? Instead of saying, why can't I lose weight? Ask a different question. If you ask yourself a question, your brain has to come up with an answer. If you ask yourself, hey, why can't I lose weight? Guess what? Your brain comes up with an answer and says, oh, because you're hormonal. Oh, because you have no self-control. Oh, because you're fill in the blank. And then that's who we believe we are. Whereas if we asked a different question, if I was really to start this journey and never stop again, what would need to happen? Better question. Now you're actually going to come up with answers that can empower you versus, why can't I do this, right? So be aware. I mean, this is why on our free 7-day challenge, which is going on right now, one of the 3 main actions is self-talk. What? Self-talk? How's that going to help me get abs? Well, it's about sharpening the axe. You've probably already heard this before, but back in was it George Washington or Abraham Lincoln? I can't remember 100%. But one of them said, they were asked, hey, if you had 10 hours to chop down a tree, what would you do? And the inexperienced person said, well, I just chopped the tree. I chopped the tree for, 10 hours. And Abraham Lincoln or George Washington, I don't remember who it was, they said, I'd sharpen the axe for 9 hours, and then I would chop it for 1. Meaning that if you want to make this change happen, it starts in your mind. It doesn't really take a crazy amount of action to make it happen. This is a mental game. This is the psychology of weight loss, right? Work on yourself. This is a lot of like working on ourselves. As you work on yourself in your own mind, the actions become easier. So we're here for you. Here to help you break through. If you need absolutely anything, let us know. And we'll keep moving forward. Hope you guys have a super awesome day. And if you are interested and any other type of one-on-one coaching, feel free to hit the link above or below. And I see a few of you guys watching now. Any questions? Anything I can help with? Let me know. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.